when you read the script, you didn't know it was a true story.
No, I didn't. And I think probably anyone born after 1990 might not know who any of these people are, because I didn't. And I got the whole way through the script thinking this is obviously not really based on true events because it's so absurd. And then I went on the internet and I was like, oh my God, this all happened in precise detail that our writer kind of captured, right down to the moments like Alison's character wearing a fur coat with a bird on her shoulder, doing an interview. Like, that actually happened. You can look it up on YouTube. There was a lot to go off, thankfully, for us.
And the central story is about her and this her rival, Nancy Kerrigan.
Well, that's the story the world kind of knew, but the film explores what her life really was like, and the main relationships in her life were with her husband, Jeff Gillooly, and with her mum, Levana, and they're the ones we focus on. Of course, the Nancy Kerrigan incident comes into the film later in the film, but you really start off and you see how she grew up and what those really messed up relationships were like and how it affected the person she became.
And I guess there's lots of footage of Tanya, both on the ice and off the ice. She was an ice skater, but not so much of the mom. So how do you go about that? Do you care about accuracy if you don't have to?
Well, exactly. It was kind of liberating not to feel... I would have felt a little intimidated if I'd had to have met the real woman, and I was kind of freed of that responsibility. So I looked at all the existing footage. There were a couple of documentaries, and I just watched them over and over and over again, and then listened to the incredible stories that Tanya... My friend Stephen Rogers, who wrote it, he interviewed both Tanya and Jeff Gillooly, her husband, and they disagreed on absolutely everything except for Levana, who she was and how she acted and how she treated Tanya. So I had those stories, and then I got to make her up myself, you know? I got to create her.
This is, you know, you see this in the film, and you kind of think, oh, that can't be what she looked like. But then you see the bit of footage at the end, and that's...
Oh, yeah. Well, I said, when I read the script, I was like, Stephen, how the hell, why? I mean, this wig and the fur coat and the bird and the alcohol, why, how did you think of this, you know, specific look? And he said, oh, wait, let me just send you a little documentary. And then I looked, and that's what this lady wore. That's what she chose.
Because in this country, would you think Deirdre Barlow? Anyone else?
Well, I'll tell you something. The thing in the breathing tube, that was my idea at the last minute, because the bird handler said, you can't smoke around the bird, and my character smoked in every scene in this movie. And then we had to shoot this direct address that I do, and the bird handler said no, and Craig Gillespie, our director, said, well, she has to smoke. She smoked in every scene. And then I asked the prop department if they had one of those. I thought, well, she must have emphysema if she smoked her whole life. So they did. They had the breathing tube and a can of oxygen you see is just on the couch next to me during that scene. But it was, and then the bird became fascinated with the breathing tube, and he kept pecking at it the entire time I was doing the scene. And I tried to just not let it bother me, because we only had, you know, 2 hours to shoot that scene, and I was not going to let that bird stop me from telling my story. So, it was...
It's almost impossible to describe. Can you imagine when you first received the script? You're like, please tell me these two boys are not certifiably insane. It's one of the most... You know how we always ask for an original script? Come on, be bold, be original. And then when you start reading and you go, hot dog fingers, rock that talk to, okay, butt plugs, you're like, what the hell? And it just
I said
going.
Original.
Yeah, we did say original. But what it was beyond the wackiness and everything, the core of the story really was about family. And what I loved about it was a very ordinary, aging immigrant mother, wife, who was facing all the problems that they have to deal with day to day. You know, they thought they came for the American dream, but right? Yeah. So then, but they allowed her to be a superhero. They allowed this ordinary woman that you walk past in the supermarket, you wouldn't give her a second glance or even look at her, but she could be a superhero. She had the potential, just as a mother, just as a wife. And the most important thing, we all have that superpower, which is kindness, compassion, and love. And what really struck with me was she was trying to tell her daughter, irregardless of how messy or how you think you are not doing well, whatever you are is enough for me. And in whatever universe, I will keep looking for you. So that was, it resounded in so many people. And it resounded with so many different generations as well.
Yeah. John, for you, obviously, lovely that Emily wants to be in the film.
Absolutely.
But as a director, is it then weird giving your life partner notes
It was weird because I was very nervous about it, to be honest. I think we both were. Before we started shooting, she said, "Are you nervous?" And I said, "I'm terrified." And she said, "Oh, good, me too." I think it's one of those things where people think because we're both in the same business, we have the same experiences. But I've actually never been on set with her, seen how she worked. I'd heard she was a diva, and I just was can't get Emily out of her trailer, stuff like that. It's like, ugh. And no, but I think what it was is, and it sounds really sappy, but it's true. I think it's the greatest collaboration I've ever had in my career. I've never seen her work, and when you are actually in the room when she does what she does, honestly, it changes the air in the room. Everyone is just completely and totally stunned by what she does.
Oh, that's
See how I just met really young. But this is what I have to say. This is what I had to learn early on in our relationship. Was that British people are notoriously terrible at taking compliments. Would you agree? Just like it's kind of like stop talking.
No, that's actually what she did. We first met, and I was like, "Look, I just want to get out of the way. I'm a huge fan of yours." And she went,
You weren't cool at all. There was none of that. Actually, I don't know your work. You were a proper fan of it.
"Oh, I was full stalker status. Yeah." I was just like, "Hey, you want to go on a date with me?"
No, tell people how many times that you've had some romantic interest.
Well, I did have a man did ask me out on the street, and it was usually it's usually young.
Are you taking
guys.
this as a compliment?
Yes. He was 87, but what the? Yeah, but then I thought it would just hurt the feelings of the other people I'm dating. You know, I thought.
Is that true, that thing about, is it that young guys want to do it to Sifter's mother?
Well, I think they just think because they've seen the movie, so they think I'm really horny. And, so, you know, it just sort of goes with it.
Now, you're traveling with your dad.
Yeah.
But now, whose birthday, was it your birthday last Friday?
Yes, it was.
And you had a big family thing?
We went to a restaurant just outside of Boston where I went to pick up my dad, and we went to the restaurant and with my dad and my brother and his wife, and somehow the waiter got mixed up and brought the candle and the cake to my father. But you know, the Bostonians are kind of English. They're kind of like the English, and they the minute they brought the cake over to my father, no one had the guts to say, you know, it's me, or whatever. Everyone was just sort of embarrassed, and so we celebrated his birthday the entire evening. I just thought, I don't know, isn't that kind of English, where you just, like, no one just has the guts to go, it's over here. I'm the birthday girl. I don't know.
And did your father have to open, like, presents of, like, lingerie and...
Yeah, he opened up like 40 packets of Lancome cosmetics and acted excited each time.
Dyeing the hair,
Yeah.
you had to go brunette in Legally Blonde.
Well, it was sort of mustard color, yeah. Yeah, it was they said to the colors, you know, just the most loser, bad hair color you can come up with. And the thing is, when you play the loser in a movie, you're treated like that on set, and you just get like, you know what I mean? Like, if I was like talking to him, like, he would just like blow me off at the coffee over at the craft service or something, because, you know, you forget you've got like big clown shoes on, and, you know, you've got mustard colored hair, and they put these fake zits on your face and everything. So you're like, hey, hi. I was flirting up a storm on that movie, and it was very limited.
Sally, you had a very special year, 25 years since Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah. And it was only when you were coming on the show, I was reading about it, I didn't realise that they filmed that film in a way that they don't normally film films. They did more cameras.
Well, I know we shot it differently because we, you know, like most films, we shot very few pages per day, certainly those days. And we would shoot exactly the scene that was written first up, do the text pretty much, and take one, take two, maybe take three, but probably not. And after that, the rest of the day was for Robin to do whatever he could think of. And he just did, and so we would film it, and it was insane, and it was a lot of fun because I was trying to keep up with him and play the straight man, you know, and he would say, well, how, you know, bizarre things. How about if I crawl in the window this time? And, you know, and, okay, sure, then let's try that. Ultimately, the film that people have seen is take 1, 2, and 3.
Oh.
And that's it. But, you know, they had promised Robin that he got to really play around with it and maybe something would come out.